Hey everyone, this is Shawn Smith with Dedicated Financial in Roseville, Minnesota. I'm the founder and CEO, meeting with my good friend Steve Denis from the SBFA. Steve, welcome to the show.
Hey Shawn, thanks for having me.
Well, Steve, for those that don't know, maybe you could just give a little background on you. We've worked together for years. I've been out to DC, have shown me the underground tunnels and all of just the things that most Midwesterners will never see, but I appreciate that. But maybe if you get it on a background, what is the SBFA and maybe your background, what leads up to you being the head of the SBFA?
Sure. So joined the SBFA, I think about 5 years ago. Previous to that, I was on Capitol Hill as the staff director of the Small Business Committee. The Small Business Committee is a congressional committee. They have general oversight over small business issues. So that's how I kind of got introduced to this industry. Our committee, we were looking into non-bank, small business lending, fintech, sort of the whole ecosystem, and got connected with a couple folks that are part of the SBFA, and they asked if I'd be interested to join and run the trade and build it out, and have been doing that ever since. Previous to that, I guess I'm affectionately called a Hill rat. I bounced around Capitol Hill a lot. I worked in the Senate, worked in the House. So I've done a bunch of jobs kind of in Congress and in politics, and that's where we are today.
And I should mention the SBFA is the Small Business Finance Association. We're so used to trading back and forth and just calling it the SBFA. And maybe if you could just give a little clarity to those, just because we work across so many different forms of commercial finance, what the SBFA really is and maybe its background as well.
Sure. So the SBFA, it's the Small Business Finance Association. We are kind of the largest in the first trade association to represent this industry. Our members provide merchant cash advances, revenue-based financing products, equipment leases, and traditional loans. Some of the bigger names that you would see in the industry are members of our organization. And our goal as an org is really to build a brand for our industry, to make sure that we're promoting the good practices and the good work that everyone in the industry does to help fund small business, make sure that they're thriving. Day to day, I'm working with Congress in Washington, different state legislators, regulators across the country, just to ensure the industry can continue to grow and thrive.
There's several trade associations that are kind of working in the space of lobbying for different commercial finance products, things like that, revenue-based financing. What would you say, I guess, is the different, what would you say are the things that make SBFA unique or different, if they were interested in getting involved, and then maybe if you could add on that, why they should be interested in getting involved?
Yeah, we work closely with a lot of the different groups or coalitions that are out there that nibble at the space. I'd say the pitch for the SBFA, some of the larger players in this space, we're all good actors. We have best practices that we follow. Really, we want to make sure that we're promoting the good practices in the industry and ensuring that our companies that are part of the SBFA operate, and making sure they're following best practices. We have an industry certification that we just launched, which is a basic training program for all of our members to participate in and be involved in. And we're also reaching out to the broker community. We started the SBFA Broker Council, which, brokers are a big part of our space. They're an important part of our space. And just to make sure that, folks in the broker community have a place to come, a trade to come, and be active, be involved, and really protect the interest of their part of the industry as well.
I think that's key. I would love to see more brokers get involved. I think they would have such an opportunity to be a mainstay long-term as well, being that involved, knowing the space, knowing what's going on. It would increase their value and their relationship with their direct funders, being more in the know, following best practices. We're excited to have you up to Minnesota to make sure our entire office is certified. Why in general get involved really with a trade association and doing work on the Hill in this industry? Why do you get a lot of folks who are saying, listen, I'm doing well, got my head down, I'm not bothering anybody. Why should I come get involved, Steve, and come out to your meetings in DC or whatever, right? Like, why get involved?
It's a great question. Look, this is a very young industry, and it's sort of scattered. Like you mentioned, there are a bunch of different groups that represent segments of the industry. But the greatest risk that we have as an overall industry, there are too many voices out there. And and we look disorganized. I think part of being a trade is, every dollar that comes to the SBFA goes directly to advocacy, goes directly to sort of building, our reputation in the media, and working on behalf of the industry. But what's really the most important thing is unity. Every single major financial service sector, say the Equipment Leasing Association, every other sort of like major industry group, there's really one major trade. There's power in numbers. The more companies you have, the more industry participants you have. That's brokers, that's funders. The stronger you are politically, and the harder it is to be a political casualty, to have different regulators and states kind of go after the space. So we want to be big. We want to have a lot of members so that when we go into a state, it really shows a message of unity, that everyone's behind good practices, that this is an industry that stands behind itself. And it really is a good message to have when you go into different states and in Congress in Washington.
Yeah, imagine how powerful it could be, and it already is that way. But I think just with SBFA members, you could easily go into certain states and say, hey, we're funding 25 or 50 or 100,000 businesses a month, right, that are getting financing that were maybe not bankable at the time, or needed an alternative form of finance that they couldn't get their hands on without our clientele. So yeah, I think that's huge strength in numbers, and just showing that the product is needed, and that we're helping a lot of their constituents with their small business.
What's great about small business as opposed to consumer, other types of finance, is that small business owners are really an important and powerful constituency, right? It's the third rail of politics in a way. Republicans, Democrats alike, they want to support small businesses. The sort of the cheesy backbone of every political speech is, we need to help our small businesses, we need to help Main Street. Well, our members and the folks that are listening to this right now, you guys are the ones on the front lines actually doing that, actually helping small businesses. You guys are offering financing products, whether it's brokering or funding, or Shawn, even you, like helping on the collection side. I mean, indirectly, you're really helping that ecosystem, and it's a really good story to tell. And we need to do a better job telling it, and that's what the SBFA is all about. We're really just trying to build industry unity so that we can have a more powerful message when we go talk to our regulators and folks in DC.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, and for us, dedicated from cradle to grave, on the workout side, we're able to really help in a positive manner, and that shows up with our reviews. And that's why we're proud to be part of the SBFA and focused on those best practices, and to show that, look, we align ourselves with groups that care about that as well. And I know that's been just a pillar focus of the SBFA. And we pride ourselves on being really the only firm in the SBFA that is part of that, because we're so focused on those positive practices, and we have the reviews and things to back that up. But the point is, because ultimately, of getting those funds back, those funders are able to get those funds back in the hands of additional small business, right? And get that money working back out on the street, and do it in a positive manner. So, that's what I've always appreciated with SBFA, is that focus on a group of folks that are working for responsible legislation, responsible branding, and focused on best practices and that's really my take on the SBFA from my perspective, is that if that's who you want to align yourself with, that would be one of the groups to do that with. Steve, I always like to wrap this up, have a little bit of fun, and people see us speaking on stage from Debanked and Funders Forum and things like that, but maybe they don't know you personally. What might be one interesting thing that people wouldn't know about you you could share as a fun fact?
Putting me on the spot here. I really didn't think about this. Fun fact. Well, I guess maybe one quick one. You brought me out in Minnesota and introduced me to the Juicy Lucy, which might have been the best burger experience I've ever had. But maybe my spare time, I work with a hockey company, and we do NHL combines for most of the NHL. We run clinics for prospects for NHL teams, and their draft picks, and up and coming junior players around Canada and the United States, and top prospects for most of the NHL. So that's something cool, I guess, maybe.
That's super cool. I mean, I live in the state of hockey, so we're all about that. And having had you up here we did the 5-8, so now we need to do Matt's bar next. And so then we'll come back for a follow-up on which one. Maybe we'll just do a live video from Matt's and say, all right, you had the 5-8 Juicy Lucy. Now you're having the Matt's, which it's kind of like, they have the Philly cheesesteak wars and all these different things. Same thing here in Minnesota.
And I'll just say for everyone that's listening to this or watching this, I will offer on behalf of Shawn that if you come to Minnesota, Shawn will buy you a Juicy Lucy.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we got 10,000 lakes. We got a Mall of America. We got Juicy Lucy, and we got sports teams that cannot win to save their lives. So that's what we got up here in Minnesota, and super nice people. But you know, we're the no coast state, so just a lot of shoreline on the lakes. But absolutely.
I just want to throw it back at you real quick. Have you ever done that? Have you ever told anyone something that people don't know about you?
I have not done that in one.
What do we
no one's asked that question. If it actually stayed tuned in the video this long, I'll be willing to share this one. Is that I was in a hard rock band between kind of late teenage years to about 21. But the biggest band I was in that played a sold out Battle of the Bands concert downtown in Prince's old club called The Quest. I was the lead vocalist, played a little guitar, and the band's name was Larry. So, you know, just imagine everyone chanting, Larry. That's what we were going for. Just the dumbest rock and roll name we could think of, and not to insult anyone named Larry, but that was what a bunch of teenagers came up with. So that's one funny, weird fact about me, is I was in a rock band named Larry.
I guess we just locked up entertainment for Funders Forum 2023.
That would be so bad. My vocals are horrible. Yeah, so that's my funny thing. So, but Steve, again, thanks for, being a friend, for, I'll just tell this to anyone. One of the side benefits for me being part of the SBFA is having just a connection like Steve that doesn't just understand DC, but understands what's going on in commercial finance, what's going on in this space. You've been a friend, you've been a mentor, you've helped show me just the ropes around really DC and around the space. So genuinely appreciated, just stuff like this. Thanks for taking the time, for being on the show, and for sharing a couple things about the SBFA.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. And thank you guys for tuning in. As always, please like, share, subscribe, comment. If you want to be on the show, reach out, DM me, or by all means, post a comment. We appreciate you guys tuning in. But until next time, thank you and God bless.